What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, the title of this video is Why Pacquiao Getting Knocked Out is Good for Boxing. And I want to explain that to you and let you know where I'm coming from as far as that statement goes. I think Pacquiao getting knocked out is a great thing for boxing just because, one, just the history and the pedigree of the fighter that knocked him out, Juan Manuel Marquez. He had three highly controversial fights. If you were to go back and watch them, I mean, I don't even recall a fight that went on past a trilogy. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but name a big fight where it went more than a trilogy where they had four fights. So, I mean, that's kind of historical in that sense. Mickey Ward, Castillo, and Corrales. Yeah, none of those fights went four times to my knowledge. Again, if I'm wrong, correct me in the comments and let me know which fight had four installments. And like I said, just based on the pedigree of the fighter, Juan Manuel Marquez, he felt he had been robbed in previous fights. I actually don't even remember the last fight where I seen a fighter get knocked down three times in the first round and then went on to win pretty much most of the rounds that followed. So that's remarkable in itself. But other than that, it's just like a tale of redemption, the underdog story. To me, that's what boxing is all about, kind of that Rocky spirit. I know Rocky's a movie, but at the end of the day, that come from behind underdog story, I like seeing that in the sport of boxing. Josecito Lopez with Victor Ortiz, there's another example of that this year. Just having a fighter who everybody doubted, nobody expected to win, and they were even planning a Victor Ortiz versus Canelo matchup, so they had already planned Canelo's fight Victor Ortiz's next fight, and I guess Josecito, he was a spoiler. So, like I said, a lot of times I like to root for the underdog. I like a good story in boxing. Check Showtime; they have one on Leo Santa Cruz. That's another up and coming fighter I like, and his story is like, I mean, it's pretty sad. Basically, he was talking about how he has a family and they lived in a one-bedroom apartment, and he's fighting for his family, he's fighting for his honor, la raza, la familia, and his brother has lupus, I believe it is. So he's trying to work towards getting a cure, and they have expensive medical bills and costs and expenses dealing with his brother's sickness, and he has to get like some kind of shot. So great story. I like to see a great story in the sport of boxing, and I feel Marquez sewed up their trilogy. There was a lot of doubts as to who's the better fighter. I always knew Marquez, in my book, is the better fighter, and Pacquiao was the better athlete. And Marquez, like I said, he just ended that chapter well, but I don't even know if the chapter's over or if the book's finished, because they might do a fifth one. Who knows? Marquez is getting up in age. He's 39, probably be 40 by the time they fight. So I'm not sure if it'll continue, but for that reason, just the feud, the war, the great battles that these two have given us, for Marquez to get some sort of redemption or vindication for what he felt happened in the previous fight, to me, that's what boxing's all about. And it was enjoyable to me. It was a good fight. Both fighters fought with heart and gave it their all, and then the better man won that night. So that's one reason. The second reason I feel that Pacquiao getting knocked out was good for the sport of boxing is because of none other than Bob Arum, Top Rank. I think for so long, a lot of you surface area boxing fans don't know like details and stuff like that. You're like, oh, Floyd's ducking, and you kind of take the opinions. I'd noticed this in politics, like Mitt Romney and Obama or whatever, whoever's running for president that particular campaign. You guys will take things that you hear without really being well informed as to that politician's real stance and their views, and you don't even know what they're talking about. You don't watch the debates. You just kind of read shit on Facebook or listen to your parents or just friends or whatever the case is, and then you kind of formulate a stance. And I notice this all the time in boxing. They'll pump something into the viewer's head. HBO, we all know they have some biased commentary, and based on that, you let it brainwash you instead of thinking with your own noodle and making your own decision. Arrive at your own decision. Don't just listen to my boxing videos or whatever boxing channel. There's a lot of good boxing channels on YouTube, but don't just use that as your sole source. Look, you have eyes for a reason. You have ears for a reason. You're given those senses, so put it all to use and don't just go off what you hear. Go off what you see and the patterns that you notice and stuff like that. So I notice all the time in boxing, and I think Pacquiao getting knocked out is great for boxing, just based on the fact that I think Bob Arum and Top Rank used Pacquiao as a vehicle because he was a megastar. He's a humble guy. He's a congressman. They want to show him to be like the chosen one, the golden child, and just this guy can do no wrong. And realistically, that's not the case. We're all human at the end of the day. The only person that was perfect got nailed to a cross, and that was Jesus. So Pacquiao's not perfect. He's like harboring a fugitive. He has tax evasion problems. He was cheating on his wife, Jinky, drinking and gambling, and just lost focus. I mean, everyone. Mayweather supposedly hit his girl. I don't know. I don't even care about these people's personal life. Everybody has done dirt. Everybody has committed some sin at some point. But anyway, the way Top Rank markets Pacquiao, it's like he's this all-American, even though he's not necessarily American. I mean, he's Filipino-American. But they market him as if he's just like some savior, like he can do no wrong. And I honestly feel Bob Arum used Pacquiao as a cash cow, and he used Pacquiao to his benefit to make him wealthier. And just things like Top Rank not willing to work with Golden Boy or Mayweather Promotions or any other promotional company, things like that. And he honestly has the power to do that at that point because his fighters were on top. So, I mean, once you have somebody in your stable that is quote unquote unstoppable or continuously winning like a Pacquiao hadn't lost for quite some years, it's easy to have the upper hand. And I honestly feel Bob Arum was able to, again, give fans fights that we didn't necessarily want, not give us the fights that we do want, and that kind of thing, because Pacquiao was his cash cow. Now, after 2 back-to-back losses, whether you think he lost to Timothy Bradley or not, it still goes on his resume as a loss. And then obviously he definitely lost in the 4th Marquez fight. He doesn't have Pacquiao as a bargaining chip as much, because if you notice the pound for pound list, Pacquiao dropped significantly. I think a lot of I forgot which one, but it was a respected boxing site like Ring Magazine or something. They moved Pacquiao to number 7 or number 8 or something like that. He's definitely dropped in terms of his star power, in terms of his pound for pound ranking list. So again, I think this makes it brings Bob Arum back to reality. Now he doesn't really have, at the time he also had Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who they were marketing as this guy is the next. He's just like his father, and I knew he wasn't as good as his father. Not saying he doesn't have any skill, but he outweighs his opponents and things like that. Now Sergio Martinez beat him convincingly for 11.5 rounds. Pacquiao has taken 2 losses. So realistically, there's nobody that Bob Arum has that has the level of star power where he could just kind of to play the boxing fans and again not give us the fights that we want to see. In my honest opinion, the only person he has is Nonito Donaire, who hasn't even crossed over to the pay-per-view market. His fights are still on HBO at this particular juncture. So hopefully this is a reality check for Bob Arum, and Pacquiao getting knocked out, I think again it took away some of Pacquiao's star power, in turn making Bob Arum realize that, okay, now this person that I had as a bargaining chip is not necessarily, I don't really have the same level of like pull or collateral or whatever you want to call it. So hopefully the reason I'm saying all of this and why it's good for boxing is because since Bob Arum doesn't have anyone in his stable that's really just like Timothy Bradley, he's undefeated, yeah, but some people thought he lost the Pacquiao fight. He's still not a household name like a Pacquiao or Floyd Mayweather. To be honest, more people, especially with the younger generation, might know who Adrian Broner is than Timothy Bradley. And if not, it's probably because of the level of controversy in the Pacquiao fight, is which a lot of people know Timothy Bradley. But like I said, hopefully it's a reality check for Bob Arum. Pacquiao getting knocked out. Hopefully this forces Bob Arum in Top Rank to make some more of the fights that we want to see. Fights like Abner Mares versus Nonito Donaire. Again, he doesn't have as much pull because he doesn't have a fighter that everybody is going to. It's hard to explain. Just Pacquiao, he lost. He's not on the same pedestal anymore. After 2 back-to-back losses, he's not on the same pedestal. So that's point blank. And hopefully Bob Arum realizes that that was his biggest star, and his star power is semi-falling. So hopefully it's a reality check, and again, it makes him realize the nature of the business, and that he has to at times work with different promotional companies. Work with Golden Boy, work with Floyd Mayweather Promotions, because the Mayweather and Pacquiao fight should have been done years ago. It's a fight we should have received, but they were able to string it along. I'm not even blaming all on Top Rank. I'm not blaming all on Mayweather. I don't even care at this point. But between the two entities, they couldn't get it done. And in my opinion, I think a lot of it has to do with Bob Arum knowing that he has a star like Bob Arum, or excuse me, a star like Manny Pacquiao, and not agreeing to certain terms, and like, oh, Floyd doesn't make the rules, so we're not doing this and not doing that. But now he's more or less in a position where he might have to comply a little bit more, because he doesn't have somebody who is as desired as they once were. They're not looking as unstoppable as they once seemed. So that's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. What does Pacquiao getting knocked out do for boxing? Is it a good thing? Hate, comment, subscribe. You guys know the routine. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.